In today's video, I'm going to be talking about a few ways you can be a more organized videographer or filmmaker. What is up, everyone? My name is Pete Gottschalk. I'm a content producer with Major League Baseball, and I've been in the sports industry for a few years now. And one thing I have learned over the years is that some videographers and filmmakers are more organized than others, and it is definitely a skill that will help you. So I'm going to be talking about a few ways that I stay organized, and these are things that I learned in college at the University of Georgia and my student internship with the athletics department. This is something that, has really stuck with me over the years, and I've brought parts of it to our systems at Major League Baseball and how we document things and archive things as well. Let's talk about why you want to stay organized as a content creator or filmmaker. One, it's going to help you be more efficient. If you're in a project and you need to find a specific clip and it's labeled nicely and neatly, it'll be easy to find that in your project, especially if you're working with a lot of video files. Number two, if you're working on a team of video editors, motion graphics editors, and other people, it's gonna make it easier for you to pass projects off. It's gonna make it easier for you and your whole team if your projects are labeled and elements are labeled and neatly presented in a project file to pass projects off, if that makes sense. So if you have to pass a project off to another video editor, that editor's not gonna be confused by a jumbled project. And finally, if you're working on a project such as a film or a documentary that's very long, and you're editing it over the span of like multiple months or even years, being organized is a necessity because you might find it hard to recall certain things and find certain clips or elements when you are going back months later in your project. So those are just a few things to think about and why you would want to stay organized, but let's get into some tips on how to help you achieve this. So my first way of staying organized, and I've talked about this before, is to label all of your files. This could be your video files individually. It should be your video files individually of the utmost importance. Your project files, your export files, and any other elements that you deem necessary or important to your projects. So I talked about this before, like I've said, I use a labeling system that I learned at the University of Georgia, and I'm sure a lot of other people use this same system. To keep it short, I do 25 for the year, 12 for the month of December, that's when I'm filming this video, and then let's just say 15, which is the day I'm filming this video. So you do 25, 12, 15, year, month, day, underscore, and then I label it kind of individually like that. For games, I'll just flash up what we do at Major League Baseball or what my team does and how we label our files on Google Drive. It's very similar, and the reason I do this is to keep things organized by name. So if you're in Finder or you're sorting things through, you can hit name and it'll sort chronologically with that 25. That's why you put 25 first. So if you put the year at the end, it's gonna get messed up year over year if you put like the month first, if that makes sense, a more traditional way of doing like a date. If you do that and you cycle by name, since the month is first, it's gonna bring up that month of like, let's say January from all the other years. If that makes sense, it's kind of hard to articulate right here in this video, but I've talked about it before. If you wanna dive more into that labeling structure, that's what I do. Now I do this for all of my video files. I do it for my project files. I do it for my export files as well. And this just helps me stay organized. So it's easy for me to kind of find my exports, or if I need to upload something, a couple clips from a specific date, I can search that in my Finder and it'll help me go find it. Now my next tip for y'all, and this might seem obvious, is save all of your files to a hard drive and then save all of your exports and projects to your desktop. And now why would you do this? That's because your video files, your raw video files, whatever you're shooting, regardless, they're going to be massive files. They're gonna be much bigger than the videos you export on average, much bigger than your project files, which are gonna be pretty tiny as well. So keeping them on a hard drive will prevent your computer, your laptop, whatever system you're using, from bogging down over time, and it'll keep that extra RAM and memory space free. It'll ultimately help your computer run better as well, which will obviously help you be more efficient as an editor. And the reason you keep your projects and your exports on your desktop or your actual computer is because that computer drive will most likely be more safe. There's a lower risk of you losing it, I would assume. There's a lower risk of it breaking, like if you drop it and breaks and the hard drive corrupts, or if it's getting stolen, there might be a lower risk, or you might lose it somewhere in your house or on a plane, let's say. So I think keeping those important project files and export files of final videos somewhere that's a little bit more safe than an external hard drive helps ultimately. And if you're saving your video files to a different space, let's say the cloud like Google Drive, or they're still on your memory card, if you were to lose the video files from the hard drive or something like that, you will still have the project folder, or the project file rather, to work on, because it will be safe on your laptop. So if you need to kind of recall, say you lose your hard drive corrupts, you'll still have that project file and you'll be able to kind of recall that project, plug the assets back in retroactively. And finally, keep your elements in separate folders. So what do I mean by elements? Elements, in my eyes, and you can define them differently, are anything that kind of helps me edit. So like overlays, music files, sound effects. What I do for that is I'll have an elements folder on my hard drive. I'll have that broken into songs, so music, sound effects, and then even in sound effects, I will have specific folders. So like baseball sound effects, reverse sound effects, boom, swishes, things like that, so I can easily find them and I don't have to search them in the search bar. And you know, I also have like lower thirds and graphics and motion graphics, 3D elements folders, just so everything stays organized. So with that being said, those were just a few ways that I stay organized as a videographer, filmmaker in the sports industry. And these tips can really apply to any industry. If you're a videographer, really, if you're shooting nature, if you're shooting whatever, sports, doesn't matter. I think these tips are largely kind of applicable across all videographers. Let me know in the comments below if there's any other ways that you guys stay organized. I'm trying to build a community here. Any positive comments helping all of y'all out, even myself, I learned from you guys in the comments. So let me know if there's other ways you guys stay organized. And I appreciate all of y'all. Make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see y'all in the next video.